Good morning, children. Today we are continuing the chapter photosynthesis in higher plants from class 11 biology. We are coming to the last part of the chapter, that the factors affecting photosynthesis. The most important thing that you have to remember is the law of limiting factor. The law of limiting factor was introduced by Blackman. We call it the Blackman's law of limiting factor. Blackman's law of limiting factor. Actually, this Blackman's law of limiting factor was introduced in 1905. 1905. According to this law, when a biochemical reaction is controlled by many factors, the rate or the speed of the chemical reaction is controlled by the factor which is to the minimal value. Once again I will repeat. When a biochemical reaction is controlled by many factors, say 2 or 3 or 4 factors, or even more than that, the rate of the biochemical reaction is influenced or controlled by the factors which is nearest to the minimal value. Meaning of this is that when there are many factors controlling the reaction, the speed of the reaction is controlled by the lowest factor. Okay, lowest factor or factor which is available in low concentration or quantity. You got this? What is law of limiting factor? This is a fact still we follow. It was introduced in 1905, but still it is very correct and we find very relevant to the chemical reaction, particularly in photosynthesis and respiration. Now we are coming to what are the various factors affecting the photosynthesis. Of course, we can understand the light. Sunlight is one of the most important factors. You know, the chlorophyll molecule present in the grana or thylakoid trap the solar energy and convert the solar energy into chemical energy, that is glucose or sugar. So the chlorophyll molecule, which is present in the form of 200 to 300 molecules of chlorophyll, that we call quandasomes, QUANTA-SOME. One quandasome contains 200 to 300 chlorophyll molecule approximately. That is present in the granum or thylakoid of the chloroplast. It is this quandasome that trap the solar energy. So we have already studied the light for photosynthesis is included in the visual: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. The intensity or the wavelength of this light, white light, range from 400 nanometer to 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer. Okay, and this light is important, white light, visual. Okay, right. I am telling about that only. So the important point to remember is the quality, intensity, and the duration of light control the rate of reaction. So light, quality, maybe which color. Of these 7 colors, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, blue, and red, blue, and yellow light. Red, blue, yellow light are very important for controlling the rate of photosynthesis. That means the quality of the light. Intensity is that the light gradually increases. Okay, and with low intensity to the higher intensities. So intensity means that hardness or the amount of light falling on the plants. That is called intensity. And duration means how long, how many minutes, how many seconds, how many hours the light continue with the same density or different density. You must please understand a particular duration with in a particular intensity of light is essential for photosynthesis. So we can say there is a linear relationship between the light incident ray or the light falling on the plant and the rate of photosynthesis at low light density. When the light density is low, there is a linear relationship between the incident light and the rate of photosynthesis. In low light intensity, there is a linear relationship. It means that how much incident ray, falls, how much light falls, that much photosynthesis, rate of photosynthesis. In low light intensity, but in high light intensity, this linear relationship of the light and the rate of photosynthesis will change. Keep in mind. So we can say there is a linear relationship between the incident ray and rate of photosynthesis at low light intensity. Usually in plants, when light intensity is full or sunlight is full, the plants attain saturation level at 10% of the light at full intensity. 10%. So 10% of the light is enough. In full intensity of the light, around 12 o'clock, the full light intensity when falls, 10% of the full light intensity is enough for the plants to absorb maximum light and perform maximum rate of photosynthesis. So 10% of the light is enough in full sunlight for the plants to perform maximum rate of photosynthesis. We got this point. And it is understood that during the daytime, when the light intensity gradually increases, the rate of photosynthesis increases, but when the light attains the maximum sunlight, the full sunlight, at its 10% of the sunlight, the plants attain saturation level of photosynthesis. Saturation level of rate of photosynthesis. So beyond this, the sunlight, beyond this 10%, the sunlight will not be absorbed by the plants. So keep in mind, sunlight has different influence on photosynthesis. Keep in mind. Now the second factor is the carbon dioxide concentration. Of course, the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is 0.03 to 0.04%. Normally, the plants perform optimum photosynthesis in this range, but plants can perform maximum rate of photosynthesis even up to 0.05% of carbon dioxide. Up to 0.05%, the plants perform the photosynthesis, the rate of photosynthesis will be maximum. Beyond this 0.05%, the rate of photosynthesis will come down. But you must please understand, when light or carbon dioxide is available in sufficient amount, there will be some other factor can be, limiting factor. Water can be limiting factor. Water can be limiting factor even when the light and the carbon dioxide is in right quantity concentration in the atmosphere. There comes the role of the water. So for many factors, of course, we can understand that chlorophyll cannot be a limiting factor because chlorophyll is already present in the plants. It cannot be a limiting factor. Sunlight cannot also be a limiting factor because sunlight is available in abundance. But the limiting factor can be carbon dioxide concentration or water. Carbon dioxide concentration should be in this range up to 0.05 degree, percentage to the atmosphere. And beyond this 0.03, the carbon dioxide concentration will be a limiting factor in the photosynthesis. Keep in mind that. So, carbon dioxide concentration would be a limiting factor, and you can understand that the rate of photosynthesis is directly proportional to the concentration of carbon dioxide, and increasing the concentration of carbon dioxide will increase the rate of photosynthesis up to 0.5 degree, 0.05 degree percentage. So that is more important point. Now C4 plants, the saturation level of carbon dioxide is 360 microliter minus 1. Okay, 364 plants, can achieve maximum rate or optimal rate of photosynthesis even low carbon dioxide concentration. See, 360 microliter rate minus 1. But at the same time, C3 plants will attain the saturation level fully at around C3 plants. C3 plants attain saturation level for 50 microliter rate. It means that the C3 plants get optimal level of rate of photosynthesis when the carbon dioxide concentration is higher. But C4 plants attain the saturation level. Saturation level, for carbon dioxide means the maximum amount of carbon dioxide that can be used by the plants for a maximum rate, optimal rate of photosynthesis. So that carbon dioxide concentration is low. So what happens in the C4 plants need a less carbon dioxide level or rate to develop the saturation level of photosynthesis. So we can understand that this is an adaptation of the C4 because in C4 plants, during daytime, you can understand that the stomata, they are xerophytic plants. Most of them are xerophytic plants like Opuntia, cactus, asparagus, euphorbia, then pineapple. These plants, during daytime, the stomata remain closed. The entry of carbon dioxide to the plant will be minimized to them. So that's an adaptation by which the C4 plants attain the maximum or optimal rate of photosynthesis even in the low concentration of carbon dioxide. As the stomata remain closed, the entry of carbon dioxide to the plants will be minimized. Whereas C3 plants attain the optimum rate of photosynthesis, or they can achieve the saturation level of photosynthesis at a higher percentage of the carbon, that is 450 microliter rate. This is an adaptation of the C4 plants. Even in the low carbon dioxide concentration, they can attain the saturation level. Okay? And the rate of photosynthesis will be optimal. Now, temperature. Third factor that affects the photosynthesis is the temperature. Of course, temperature may vary from place to place. I have already been indicating that C4 plants, the temperature tolerance level is higher. There are desert plants or dry habitat plants. C4 plants can tolerate high level of temperature. It means that C4 plants respond to higher temperature. Even at higher temperature, and the rate of photosynthesis can be optimal even higher temperature. Whereas C3 plants achieve the what we call saturation level at low temperature. They cannot, C3 plants cannot respond, cannot survive in high temperature. At the high temperature, C3 plants cannot even perform photosynthesis. So there is an optimum, there is a minimum or medium temperature around, I can say 10 to 40 degrees Celsius temperature. But the C4 plants can be even beyond the 40 degrees Celsius. They are adapted to live in the dry temperatures. Got it? Right. Now the last one is the water. So water is very important for photosynthesis. During light reaction, in the presence of light, the water splits into hydrogen atoms, protons, plus electrons. Proton plus electrons, hydrogen, proton, and electrons. These electrons and protons are very essential for photosynthesis. Electrons will recompensate the lost electrons from the pigment system. 2. Got it? Okay. So it will help the pigment system or photosystem to continue the photosynthesis or light reaction or dark reaction even in the absence of light in the atmosphere. Okay, because the water provides electrons to the pigment system too, and it will promote the emission of the high intensity electrons, high energy electrons, and the dark reaction can continue even in the absence of sunlight between some high intensity light. There may be very low intensity light in which the photosynthesis cannot take place. But the electrons emitting from the water can provide the electrons to the pigment system too. Thereby, get electrons, and there is no shortage of the electrons to emit and continue the dark reaction and develop in these plants. Got it? Right. So you can understand that hydrogen atoms, that is protons emitting from the water, split from the water, will join to the NAD to reduce NAD to NADPH. So ATP formed during the electron transport in the light reaction plus the NADPH formed are utilized in the dark reaction. So water is an essential factor. We can say water and carbon dioxide are the raw material that should be made available from outside in plants. Because of this raw material availability in the atmosphere or in the plants, this can be easily a limiting factor. While the chlorophyll and sunlight will be abundant in the nature. Okay, during daytime the light is more in the atmosphere. So we can understand the 5 points in this part. Law of limiting factor by Blackman's. The factors affecting photosynthesis include light, concentration of carbon dioxide, the temperature and water. Just to read out and develop your own concepts and ideas. Okay, thank you very much.